Dave Cooper Live. We connect the industry leaders in the architectural, engineering, and construction space with the people, the products, and the processes to help them build it better. Construction doesn't have a labor problem, a materials problem, or even a capital problem. It has a coordination and approval problem. Permits take too long, engineering is fragmented, builders are stuck juggling consultants who don't even talk to each other. Today on Dave Cooper Live, we're talking with Maor Greenberg, co-founder and CEO of Spacial, a company pairing AI with licensed engineers to deliver permit-ready structural, MEP, and energy plans, all from one engineering partner. This isn't AI hype. This is AI in production, built by someone who spent nearly 2 decades as a builder before founding Spacial. If you care about speed, scale, and actually getting projects approved, you're going to want to hear this. But before we get into any or all of this, we need to have a big shout out to all of our supporting members. CombiLift is the largest global manufacturer of multi-directional forklifts and straddle carriers, a leader in long load handling solutions, offering a free warehouse and site optimization design service. CombiLift helps companies of all sizes and from every industry maximize the capacity, safety, and efficiency of their warehouse and storage facilities. A big thank you to Paul Short and the team at CombiLift for helping us all to build it better. Visit them at combilift.com. Every build deserves comfort that lasts. Cobalt Creed helps builders and offsite manufacturers reach new levels of indoor air quality and efficiency. With their proprietary small duct, high-velocity central heating and cooling system, quiet, compact, powerful, Cobalt Creed, building comfort into every building. Learn more at cobaltcreed.com. All right. Again, thank you to all of our supporting members and all of the members you see going across the ticker down below here. We can't do any or all of this without your support out there, especially programs like we're going to have today. And why do I say that today? AI is everywhere, but builders aren't feeling the relief yet. And why is that? Permitting, engineering, coordination, and approvals are still slow and projects are lacking behind. So why don't we stop talking about this and let's bring on the expert who's looking to save how this works and save us time, money, headaches, energy, all the fun stuff. Maor, thank you and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Dave.
Hey, listen, Maor, before we get into Spacial, I want to start with you because this company didn't come from a theory. But before we get into all of this, I want to know, and so do the viewers, we want to know everything about you from the moment you were born to this very moment in time. Do not leave out any of the good stuff from the hospital, or we're going to have your family members on, and it might get embarrassing, but the floor is yours. You only have 2 minutes to do it.
All right, so all the way from the back. So as far as I know, my mom took about 24 hours to deliver me. So if that's back enough,
Ouch.
ah, me, 20 years within the AAC industry, started my first construction and development company in Israel, almost literally 20 years ago. I'm getting old. When I was 18, moved to United States 13 years ago, started a construction company locally in the Bay Area, California, mostly in Palo Alto, that's the city. Company grew to be in the Inc. 5000 as the fastest growing companies in the United States twice. Over 100 employees, building next year 100 and something homes. Then I decided to try to build and do something different and trying to create more one-stop shop experience for my clients. So I opened a showroom that's also located in Palo Alto that sells everything you need to build a house, but on the higher end level. So the windows, the doors, the appliances. And to make it perfect, we added interior designers into it and also an architectural team. So for my clients, I always provided a one-stop shop experience, white glove service, if you want to call it this way, that they have one builder that they come in that help them with the entire process of the project. And then the only thing I was missing is Spacial, even back then. And as a builder, we experienced a lot of issues during construction from the lack of integration between the architects, the engineers, when it's coming to structural, then MEP. And that's what I wanted to solve. And I'm sure we're going to dig more about it.
We definitely going to dig more about it, right? Because time is money, headaches are money, and I always love the saying, business is easy until people get involved. So how do you reduce the amount of people that you have to deal with, especially when it comes to complex issues like MEPs and engineering? When coming from the background of a builder, what did engineering and permitting feel like for you when you were running projects before you started Spacial?
Sadly, it's always felt as a headache. And the reason it's felt as a headache because it never worked 100%. And I'll give you the most annoying stories. Build a house in Atherton, most luxury zip code in the United States. You have architect designing an amazing house, Scandinavian design, vaulted ceiling. Wow. Engineering plans are flat ceilings. When did that happen? Middle of COVID. Good luck talking to the city. You're trying to run ducts in the second floor. There is no attic space. So you need to change the systems from whatever is spec'd on the plans to split systems or set systems. It's a unit that sits inside the ceiling compared to the ducted units. You want to run plumbing for the toilets, sewer lines. Makes sense, right? You're stuck in steel beams and there is no way to go down without building soffits. And it's pretty common in the industry that it's okay during construction, you will build soffits. And even me as a builder, we're trying to find those issues ahead of time. Sometimes it's not possible because the technology we had is, for me at least, what I use is literally to take Photoshop, remove the background and the back end, and overlaying the entire house. Some things you can find, some things you can't. But I got tired from seeing the lack of communication, and it really was a headache to look at engineering and just bring in an MEP guy, and he's like doing whatever he wants at the end. And when he's running the ducts, and you're not sure if it's going to work or not at the end till the project is completed. You're just going by assumption of professional. Right. But that's why you hired an engineer ahead of time for him to be the professional because you're on calcs. So that's my issues with engineering in the construction industry.
So being a practitioner before Spacial, what are the true costs of these delays? It's not just dollars, right? But it's momentum, it's time, effort.
Yeah, so if we go by the dollar first, EPA factoring up to 30% of every project is rework and reorder of materials. That's a lot of money as a builder. And for me, being one-stop shop, fully integrated, I was able to get it to 15. So anything on architectural interior designer went down. The main issue though is time. A project that should take 10 months now taking 16, 18 months. You need to push your schedule. You start getting delays in other projects because you can't put enough people, but the other homeowners wants you to start. You promise them you're going to start in August 1st, and what is the excuse? It's your problem. It's not their problem, right? Everyone wants to see themselves.
Yeah, for sure. So at what point did you realize that it wasn't just about inefficiency, but it was more of a systemic problem moving forward? But, and what was the point you basically said, this is nuts. We got to change this. There's got to be an easier way.
So it's happened about 6 months after an opening an architectural firm, because you're then in the beginning, you always blame the architect. And the reason you blame him because he's the only one in front of you during the construction. It's you, the architect, and the homeowner. So who is the project manager from the owner's side? Right. It's the architect. So you're blaming him. And then I become the architect. So I own the architectural firm. I have an Insights architects. We've done everything much better than others. Everything in Beam, everything 3D, including even the interior design elements was in 3D. But the engineering wasn't there. And you still had exactly the same issues. And then that's about 6 months after. So that was about 2019, roughly 2020. And then in my head, I started developing Spacial in a different way. It was a project management, takeoffs, plan check. And then at the end, I got to the final concept, which happened in 2024.
So if you were to summarize Spatial in 30 seconds, give us your elevator pitch before we hop into the demonstration and the practical use of this.
Your one-stop shop, structural engineer, MEP engineer, giving you permit-ready plan sets within few minutes compared to days and weeks, which is average is 27 weeks on the industry.
In just a few minutes. So, all right, we're going to walk through this because I have so many questions on this and what it and how it's going to help, all of you out there, whether you're in the site built world, commercial world. We're getting into all of these different aspects and use cases that it can be used for. So, what does AI paired with licensed engineers actually mean in practice before we hop into this demo?
It's meaning that the AI is doing the heavy lifting, automating the processes in the back end, and the human is there staying in the loop, reviewing what was created, making sure it's done right, stamping it, validating it, and getting it to be submitted to the city. For me, what does it mean though? Not for the technical part. It's how do you take 80 hours on average to design a house and reducing it all the way down to a few hours.
Love it. All right, I'm going to put this up on the screen for you here. Walk us through what we're looking at.
All right, so this is a 3D object-based model that was generated from our platform. So we took a 2D file, uploaded it, converted it to a 3D model, which happening seamlessly with the AI. And what you see here, it's a single family home in Palo Alto that was actually built and sold. Now, same as other design tools, we can edit, we can move, we can design and select elements, but that's not the biggest part that's important over here. We can work in 3D and in 2D. But me clicking here, within about 60 seconds, you have a house engineered from the shear walls to the load-bearing walls to the beam to the studs, and more elements are keep getting added. So what we're trying to do right now is also adding some beam objects, so it's become even more realistic. So we can see the studs start popping out. We can see the beams, the headers. Actually, the beams will pop up in a second. Then the joists, and all of this happening live in front of you. So, and also in every given time, it can be a bit different. And if we did ask about what is the human, sometimes when you have errors, the human can detect them ahead of time, and then it can delete those elements and restart the design. Now, after we designed the 3D, as most people probably that watching the shows know, 3D is not what the industry is used to work with, which is great to have. It's amazing if you can get your stuff to use it, but what you really care about is the 2D plans that got generated after the fact. So we have the foundation plan, we have the shear walls, the roof, and the typical details that were sketched by the AI. And now this is the part when the human come in and making sure that everything was done the right way, the calculations are meeting the specs, and then placing the stamp and giving it approval from the city. Besides that, if I'm going back to the architectural mode, another big element that we have is by clicking here, there is a tiny little guy, we're calling him Orbit. He comes in and he scans the building. It takes a few seconds to load. And then the building is getting scans against every building code and regulations from the 4 departments. So you have building department, planning department, public works department, and fire department. And then the AI comes in and scan all of those elements. So it can flag egress errors. It can flag if the outlets are in the wrong locations, if we're missing something within the structural plan. And that save process back and forth with the city, which today on average, at least in the Bay Area, can take up to 4 months. That's meaning that if you just were ready to resubmit every time they give you the comments. So here you have the AI already doing it for you and then flagging the errors ahead of time. Soon we're going to have the feature that come in added into it that also the AI can help you fix. So meaning we're going to be able to also help the architect to finalize their permit set. So not just coming under the structural side, but also helping the architect to have the right notations in his plan. So now we have a building that scans 64 errors, 64 checks passed, 286 errors, and we can start digging in and really see what is every error.
So let me ask
Another,
you
yes,
that before we get into even further on that. How do my plans as a builder or developer get into your system if we're working together?
Oh, that's a great question. If we can pop back to it after the fact, because I'm going to go to the first
Yeah,
screen and show you the process of uploading it also.
absolutely. Go for it.
All right. So now next what we have is a takeoff. So our goal is also to tell the architect ahead of time what is the cost to build this house. Because for me as a builder, what I experience, I will say about 80 to 90% of the project, architect designs something the homeowner cannot afford. And then the redesign process starts. So within the design, I call it the 4 phases. You have the schematic and programming. Phase number 2 is the design development. Phase number 3 is the cost optimizations. That's again when the architect contacting a builder. And phase number 4 is when the permit is getting submitted. So our goal is to help the architect to know the cost. And if he select all the materials within the BIM objects or give us the information within his plans, we also giving them a very, very detailed takeoff. That we are connected to APIs from the top suppliers in the United States to be able to pull those numbers. And then final stage is when we're helping, as I said, the architect to finalize this set. The input to the platform was the first floor, second floor, the elevations of the projects, and the notations that you see over here. That's where we're coming in because this is just code references.
Mm-hmm.
And now going back to your question, I forgot, annotation and communications is more tools that we have. This is where the architect starts or the builder starts by managing their projects, managing their clients, and being able to very simply upload their PDF or their CAD file over here, and then the process starts.
So if I'm working with a client, right, and they say, after we've already done this, as most clients will do, they'll say, well, I made a change. I want my living space to be bigger, my bathroom to be this. How do I update that in your plan set?
So what do we have is a plugin that go back and forth within AutoCAD.
Okay.
Or Autodesk products. So they still can do the updates within their platform, but they can also do it within ours.
Is the user of this, because you say architects, but it also sounds to me like a plan, or like the city town hall, the planner or the building inspector could load these plans into the same system and help
Correct.
it find any errors that may be in the plan, no?
So the way that I like to say it, it's anyone that involved in the design process can work with us. It can be the architect, the designers, the drafter, the builder, the homeowner, anyone that can understand the design can upload those files and the process happens after the fact.
How do you get all the data from the different municipalities into your system, and what municipalities and states are you currently using this in?
So currently we support California. From Q1 next year, we're going to be in Texas, Arizona, Georgia, and Florida. And the way that we're doing, we're scrapping the information on the web from the cities and the state code. Easier, of course, from the states. Then from the city level, what we really care is about the planning comments. And then we also taking sets of plans that were previously approved to be able to cross-reference. So we have all the building codes. We're creating our own knowledge base graph, and then being able to get the planner. By the way, what you saw over here, I just dropped the PDF, same project as before. The system recognizes automatically what is the floor plans, what is the elevations, and me clicking here, we're going to keep chatting, and then the AI going to start designing this house on a 3D base.
So if I make a change and I re-upload my plans, does it already know that it is the same plan just with some minor changes to it and doesn't have to go through the whole process again, or does it just look at what was changed?
So correct. It's keeping it as versions. So it's version 1, version 2, version 3.
Yeah.
And then as the way that we work also, at least until the point that you approve the structural plan to be stamped, you can make as many changes as you want. As soon as the step goes in, that's where it's become a change of order and it's a revision.
And who's the architect or engineer of record on the plans?
The engineers on record is us. The architect is still the architect. Compared to others, we try not to claim that we're here to replace architects. We're here to enable the architects or anyone involved in the design process. But when it's coming to engineering, we are the engineer on record.
Are we only doing single family homes right now and multifamily? What is the projects look like that you're currently doing?
So for now, we are focusing in the single family industry, meaning any house that it's up to 4 units. But quickly, we're going to grow to also multifamily and even commercial. But right now, it's really trying to perfect the niche that we are. Because as something, as you probably know about this industry, if something is not perfect, it's usually when you're getting replaced very quick.
Right.
So you want to be there.
For sure. For sure. How does, if you got clients all over the place, is this a cloud-based program?
It is a cloud-based, web-based. As you can see over here, I just open a browser and I'm working with it.
And how do I know that my data for my company and my clients is secure?
All of us using the same servers, everything is sitting over here on AWS. It's all secured and with the top security levels. Your information is your own information. It's living within your user. It's not shared between others. So, for example, we do have some structural engineers that they have their own technique of designing homes. So the AI is trained just specifically for them, and their knowledge is their knowledge. It's completely private. So
It
just
is
to show
completely.
here, we have a 3D model that was generated within a few seconds.
That's incredible. And then you can bomb it, like blow it up and everything else, right?
Correct. You can open it. You can again move to 2D. You can keep doing the engineering if you like, and you can start the process.
So in comparison, AI is still fairly new, right? In an industry like us old folks out here that haven't really adopted or adapted to technology very well in change. How accurate is using AI in this program versus the old school human way?
So first of all, let's start by saying AI is a nice buzzword. It's a buzz. Not many people understand what is AI and what AI is doing. So the way that I prefer to call it in many cases is automation.
Yeah.
Okay, so the process of automation exists for many years. Even technologies that are similar to AI exist already for 30 plus years. It's pretty accurate. It has some mistakes, and that's why you keep the human on the loop. But the question is how you control those mistakes. So, for example, if the mistakes are happening in the 3D,
Right.
it's easier to see, and you make the adjustment within the design. And then when the 2D is getting generated after the fact, it's pretty accurate. And then when you're working with AI, something when you're communicating even with ChatGPT, which is not really AI, but it's something. You really want to prompt it the right way. You want to ask this question very specifically because you don't want it to give it away to hallucinate. And that's the same thing we are doing if we are working with agents and when we're working with agents, they're really, really specific. And then you have an agent that check another agent. So for example, we also have a legal agent that's coming just from a legal perspective to read the building codes.
Got it. Got it. So walk me through, like, so who are your clients now? Are you all over, like architects, engineers, small builders, large builders? And then walk me through how the costing of this works. If I want to do business with you, Maor, how does it work?
All right. So most of our clients today are actually design and build firms. That of course they have architects or drafters within their staff. We do have some architects and some engineering partners that also working with us. From a pricing perspective, from the consumer perspective, we're keeping it simple. So we have one flat fee. It's $6,000 all across the US. And that's coming from a structural perspective and an MEP perspective. And the way that they work with us, we're trying to give them the same traditional ways also. So if they want to just pick up the phone, they want to send us an email, they want to actually create a login and use the platform by themselves. As you know, with this industry, you don't want to push a change too quick and too strong. So we're trying to ease it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get into the different systems because we keep talking about MEP. So if we're looking at HVAC systems or, heating and cooling, hydronic, does it matter what system a builder wants to use, whether it's a PPAC unit, a wall unit, a high velocity small duct unit? How does that information get calculated
No.
within?
So no, there is no difference. It's all about setting up the rules ahead of time. And then the system will tell them if it's possible or not, right? If you want to have ducts, but you don't have attics, then the system will tell you it's impossible to design it. But if you do, then we'll push that design. The system is also programmed to try to design the most cost-effective way from a labor perspective and then material perspective at the same time.
Right.
So even if when it's going back to structural engineering, it's starting from rules to let's try to avoid engineered wood as much as possible. Then if we have to have engineered wood, let's avoid steel beams as much as possible. And that's how the design process works. By the way, in the 3D model, if you want to show it again, right now we have the electrical that was generated because it's a new set, a bit a newer model. And then we can see the locations of the panels. You can see the outlets that is showcasing what is inside the house. And then the same thing, the electrical plan was generated with the panel diagram. to distribute the loads around the house.
Is there an app for this as well that can be used in the field? Let's say there's a builder in the field and they're seeing a conflict maybe where they're trying to run their pipes. Or does this eliminate conflicts because you can break it open and actually see exactly where that's potentially going to happen?
We don't have a phone app yet. That will happen soon. We're just busy trying to solve bigger issues right now. But technically, as we said, it's a cloud-based. You can open it in a browser on his phone. It will work. You can just open a laptop or an iPad and it will work. And then you can make the changes. You can communicate. You can collaborate with his team members.
How's your growth been since you launched this? Are you busy? I would imagine you're busy.
We're super busy. So we start marketing around April, May. We're already crossing handful of millions of dollars in revenues.
Wow.
I'll say it this way. We're serving more than 140 projects. We have repeatable clients coming back to us, and we are close to close very big partnerships that are going to send the company to a different level. So yes, we are busy, 25 people with a growth to grow to 40 people next year.
When you say partners, what type of partners are you looking for when you look at large partners or growth partners?
So, it's all about data. It's how you collect the right data and you collect the right experience. So you have the join mode, which is the one-off projects, which is great. Why? Because then you're training an AI to work on a very custom home, which is amazing because that's the hardest to solve.
Right.
Then you want the partners that you see the future with, right? We're working with an amazing company called Niovi, and what they do is manufacturing homes. So we're helping them to solve the engineering for a paneled wall system. So that's a growth partner for the future, how you get data that not necessarily exists online that you can use or in books. It's something new that wasn't done before. And then you want the big enterprise. You want those big companies. You want the top 10 builders, the top 200 builders to work with them, serve them, and help them to speed the process, because also coming from at least my place, maybe try to help some affordability in homes because pricing's become unlimited, impossible for people to afford. And the reason is, it's, as you said in the opening, it's not necessarily about shortage in materials. It's not the costs. Those are pretty much fixed. It's more about the time and the amount of loans that they need to take and hold it for a year until they can develop, or entitlement for land can take anywhere between 6 to 8 years. So that's the biggest cost you can save to maybe reduce the cost of homes.
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, if you can reduce the time and you can reduce the effort and the number of people that's needed to do all these plan reviews and permit sets, and everything's about speed to market. We are so far behind on the housing that we need in the country. Everything has to speed up. It just can't be construction. It has to be the process to even get to putting a shovel in the ground, right? All of that, and with less skilled labor and workers. This is where AI can help out and allow people to do more with less. And that's basically what you're saying here. And you're dealing with less people, which means less headaches. And when I say that, I don't mean that people are headaches. It's just business is easier with less people.
Yeah, people are not headache, but a lot of opinions is a headache.
There is a lot of opinions. What's the future of Spacial look like? Where are you headed?
So our goal is to become more as an operating system for the industry. That's really where we're aiming for, that we're going to be your #1 design partner. You start the design with us and you're ending the entire process of the construction with us. We're going to add in features as we're going to take this marketplace or the takeoff that we created to become a marketplace. Better to say, we want to give you all the collaboration tools that you as a client can just live on one platform. And that's also coming from an understanding for me as being in the builder industry. It's really hard to get people to use apps. And if you're really noticing what platforms are getting built out there, they're mostly built for the builder. They are not built to the trade. So how do you get the trade to be able to use the same tools as you're expecting the builder or the contractor to use? And it's going to be simple enough for them, because most of them are not educated. They don't have a degree. And they started probably working the age of 13 somewhere illegally. And that's doing exactly the same thing they got trained to do. So one thing I was able to do for my companies, and that's the same vision we have over here, I was able to get them an app of a 3D that was very simple for them to work with. And I saw the crew using it, and it was amazing. So that's what we want to do over here. We want to make sure they can visualize it on site, as you asked before. We want to make sure that if they have comments or revisions, they can see them. They can collaborate with the office in the back. They can make sure that the builder has the right materials on time, on site. You really want to make sure that things are streamlining very quick.
Yeah, and I have a video that you guys sent us that's kind of just walking through that process, and I thought it was good to have up here kind of while we talk. So for people that are joining us or seeing this later in the show, they understand the technology and the AI and what it's generating. For builders, architects, engineers that are skeptical of AI or skeptical that it's going to take away from their ability to be in control and they don't want to lose work to AI, right? Nobody does for that matter. What would you say to them?
We're not here to replace you or take your job. We're here to enable you to do more. That's really what it is. Instead of doing, the average for architect firm is 24 projects a year. That's from statistics that we were able to create. Now you can go have 100 projects a year because there is a demand. People actually need you to design their homes. So now you can actually do it because you have more time, you have more capacity. And you did hit the point before, you are losing quality employees. And if it's from an architectural field to engineer field or even the labor side, you're roughly losing 5% every year of skilled labor.
Right.
So we are here to help them, not to replace them at the end.
Yeah, and I mean that's really what it's about. How do you enable people to do more? And I love that. So you got some things coming up, right? I think you guys are going to be at IBS in the startup zone this year, right? So I wanted to put this
Right.
up here, right?
Thank you.
Spatial in the startup zone, which by the way, for those of you that haven't been to IBS or the startup zone, it's an awesome place to go and it's an awesome place to be because it's everybody, like yourself, Mayor, and your team showing their wares. And I always said, you don't find innovation in the 30 by 40 booths. You find innovation in the 5 by 10 booths, period.
I completely agree. I used to visit that show every year as a builder also. So that's the place to be.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And then also you guys have an amazing website. So I wanted to put this up here so people can see your website. Is there anything on this website that people should be aware of?
Yeah, the contact button. It's on the top right. It says, let's talk. Give us a buzz, contact us. Let's start talking. Let's see how we can help you.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Mayor, is there anything I missed out of in this conversation? Anything that I left out that you feel is super important for people to know?
No, I feel like we covered pretty much everything. The thing to people to understand that it's all about data. So what we are creating is a huge knowledge base that can be used for anyone. So going back to, we're not here to replace you, we're here to enabling you. We're scrapping every legal document that was approved before by the cities, and we're creating it based on statistic and what really will help you design and build this house faster and better. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Well, and that's what we need. We need to build faster. We need to build better. And listen, everybody's struggling out there. People need the help with it for moving things along and for getting people off the streets and all of the above. So, all right, listen, there's a couple comments I'm just going to flash up here real quick since we're at the end of the show. Steve Dubin. Hey, Mayor, if you don't know Steve Dubin, everybody should know Steve Dubin. Good morning. At least for him, he says he's in Napa, California. Yeah. It's cold here for sure. I don't know who this person is. Good morning. Very excited to be here. Unfortunately, they don't have it set up to where we can read what's going on. But Steve did say, hey, Mayor, amazing, great looking program. And Jennifer, of course, in the background saying, build better, faster. Thank you, Maor Greenberg. See you at NAHB IBS 2026. And yes, Jennifer, we are definitely going to be there. And that LinkedIn user was Jessica Wells. Do you know what Jessica Wells? You do now. She knows you anyhow. Thank you, Jessica. Appreciate you joining us today. All right, Mayor, stay right there. I'll come back to you after our outro. We really appreciate having you on the show today and joining us. So if you want to learn more, you just go to spatial.io. Well, it's not even .com, just spatial.io. I should know better because I'm .live and everybody tries to put a .com at the end, and here I am messing it up.
No, we're not with the .com.
So all right. Well, we appreciate you, Mayor. You stay right there. All right. For the rest of you out there, it is Christmas week. There will be no show this Wednesday. I hope you can understand, but I'll be spending time with my family. So the final takeaway on this isn't about AI. It's really about removing friction in the built world. How do we do more with less? How do we do it faster? How do we remove the friction? And how do we make all of you architects, engineers, building departments out there more efficient and more accurate in everything thing that you do. So with that said, again, a big thank you to all of our supporting members. We can't do any or all of this without you. I hope everybody has a happy holiday and a happy new year and Merry Christmas from Dave Cooper Live and our family. We will see you, I guess, after the new year. My goodness, we'll see you in 2026. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. I'm Dave Cooper. See you soon. What an amazing show. Thank you to all of our sponsors for helping us to continue to bring all of these innovative conversations to all of you out there. Please visit them, see what they have to offer you. And as always, subscribe to the YouTube channel and ring that bell. It would mean the world to us. I'm Dave Cooper. Thanks for watching.